Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Back.
So last week, I was taking my children, Shalva and Adir, to school. And as I arrived at the school, we were arriving there, one of the crossing guards motioned to me and said to come over. I said, okay. I went over and she pointed to my kippah and she said, what's that called again? I said, it's called a kippah. She grabbed me and she grabbed my arm and she whispered in my ear, she said, we're all praying for Israel. And so I grabbed her arm and I said, thank you so much. It means so much to me. And it was such a sweet moment because you hear the news, read the news, and you don't know, you don't feel the other side. But then something like that happens and you realize we have friends in so many places that we don't always see. And we don't have to always think about that we're all alone. So our parsha this week is the giving of the Torah. And anybody know what the name of the parsha is? It's called Yitro. So Yitro was Jethro, and Jethro was the father-in-law of Moses. And all the Jews throughout time have said, it's so strange that this parsha that's about the giving of a Torah, the name of the Torah, the name of the portion is the name of someone who's not Jewish, Jethro. And for all time, this is how this parsha is associated for us in Judaism, the most important parsha maybe of the whole Torah. And so what's the story of Jethro? The story of Jethro comes right after the story of Amalek. Amalek is like the opposite of Jethro. In the story of Amalek, right as the children of Israel are leaving Egypt, there's a nation called Amalek that ran up behind them and attacked the people who were the most weary, the children, the elderly. This happened a long, long time ago, and those who were at the bottom. And so God said, Amalek are the worst because they attack people who are vulnerable, and you always are going to be against Amalek. And it's true, we fought a lot of wars against those people who feel that way about the Jewish people. And Haman was a descendant of Amalek. But after this, the Torah turns to Jethro because it wants to tell us a different kind of lesson. And so Jethro is Moses' father-in-law, but he's not just Moses' father-in-law, he's also Moses' best friend. What we know about him is that he's the high priest of Midian, and he presumably worships idols, which is one of the 10 things the commandments say not to do. But when he sees Moses sees him. It's the first time after coming back from Egypt. They run to each other, and Moses and Jethro embrace each other, and they kiss. And then Moses tells him excitedly everything that happened in Egypt, and Jethro says, Baruch Hashem, and then does a sacrifice to God. And then it continues. Jethro talks to Moses, and he sees that Moses is busy all day, all night. Moses is solving cases. And so Jethro tells him, what are you doing? You should be delegating. Why don't you delegate to people who are capable and fearful of God? You can give them the minor decisions to look over, and I'll look over the more major decisions. What does it say? Moses listened to every word his father-in-law said. That's a good son-in-law. And listened to every single word and did it precisely as his father-in-law Jethro said. It's only after we hear about this whole long episode that we get to the story of how the mountain shook and we received the Torah. And so, as a Jewish people, sometimes we feel like we have a unique fate, a unique way we are in the world. There's positives and there's negatives. And in the last while, a lot of people have been feeling so strongly their Jewish identity and waking up to it. And the news earlier this week, we saw what happened with the Chicago City Council and their vote, which was upsetting. But it's important to keep in mind that even in such times that we have friends of our people that are known and that are unknown, who are fighting and praying with us, who are there with us. And we forget it. Sometimes they come in motion to us to come and tell us how much they care about us and love with us and are with us. And they know they're there with us, sharing in our quest for truth, in our quest for peace, in our quest for love. Shabbat Shalom.